All right, the president, he's had a tough few days, hasn't he? Now, love him or hate him, there's no disputing that, let's be honest. And according to a brand new report, things could get even tougher. The New York Times is reporting that the president and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell have not spoken in weeks. And the senator reportedly doubts that the president can salvage his administration. So how big of a problem is that? And what does the president need to say tonight to begin to turn the page? Joining me now, co-host of The Five and former White House press secretary who knows a lot about clutch presidential moments, Tina Perino is here.
I love being in red with you.
Me too.
We're all red in.
It's the finest way to celebrate the dry heat in the Phoenix desert.
107 degrees.
Woo! So let's talk a little bit about this because supposedly Mitch McConnell, according to sources, has said that he thinks that the administration is damaged, perhaps beyond repair. Steve Bannon said something similar on his way out of the White House last Friday. He said that this presidency is over. Is there a commonality to those things?
Well, I think that, the president might call it fake news, but I would say it's old news. So this phone call between the two, McConnell and Trump, happened a couple of weeks ago. The AP and the Washington Post reported at the time that it was a tough one. Yeah. The New York Times has more granular detail. Apparently there were some soap was needed, apparently, during the phone call. There was some profanity. But you know what I think is pretty good? Tonight, the White House on background is saying, not phased, no big deal. The call was 2 weeks ago. We're moving on. We've got a lot to work on together. Yeah. That, to me, is a sign of somebody like General Kelly with his hand on the tiller, basically saying we're not going to waver on this. Like, we're just going to let that go and not bite. It would be interesting to me if the president or the critics of McConnell and Ryan use a New York Times story to criticize McConnell and Ryan. That would be interesting to me, as I think the White House handled that very well.
Yes, the president is a billionaire, and the irony is also very rich in many of these circumstances.
Indeed.
Now, you've said that you appreciated last night's Afghanistan speech. You appreciated the maturity and the focus on what the president had to say. But you say tonight is a night to break some news. How does the president do that?
Well, I have to say, I know that, for local news coverage, which is very important in a presidency, believe me, I get it, wanting to go out there and get local news coverage, that's really good. For the national news coverage, when you have the bully pulpit and you can drive the message, one of the things that bothers me about these rallies is they don't use the first 5 to 7 minutes to set up the news story for the next day or two. Yeah. It's just straight into, let me tell you how great all the things are that we've been doing, and there's nothing new. Now, the crowd loves it, and I actually like watching the crowd because they get so into it and they're having a lot of fun. He has fun, everybody has fun, somebody gets made fun of, somebody gets thrown out. But they're not actually utilizing the tool because the press is going to cover the rally, but unless you give them something new to cover, and if you don't want to drive the next day's news, that's kind of a problem. So I think
what could they do tonight? What could the news be?
Well, I think there has been confusion, right? So whether it was true or not, there was this tease that he was going to pardon Sheriff Arpaio, who has recently been convicted. Sarah Huckabee Sanders says that is not true. That will not happen tonight.
That is live, by the way, right next to Dana's head.
Yes.
A view of the Phoenix Convention Center as supporters and perhaps some protesters start to file in to hear what the president has to say.
In addition to that, the president visited the border today. So he, maybe some news might be what he plans to try to do on border wall funding. Remember, the House has actually already passed it twice. So the House has done its duty in terms of responding to the president's request. Now it goes over to the Senate. He could, there's rumors that he's thinking about what to do about the Dreamers. Would he announce that in Arizona? I doubt it. But maybe. That would be bold.
And it's a politically interesting state. You have people certainly on both sides of the immigration debate who are very, very passionate about where they stand, heels dug in. And we know where the president stands on this issue, so we'll see what he gives his base and whether or not he tries to expand the base.
Right. Well, he has an opportunity to do both. And so he's really at a fork of the road. But I think that last night he had several audiences in mind. A president speaks to multiple audiences all at once. The most important one last night was our military. To say he has their back and he's going to let them do what they need to do.